Hello everyone. I think we're live.
Yeah, I think it's working now. Hallo, schönen guten Nachmittag oder guten Abend an alle Publisher aus der DACH-Region. Wir sind heute hier mit unserem CCO von Ezoic, John Cole, direkt neben mir.
Hello everyone.
Und wir haben gedacht, wir veranstalten heute ein Ask Me Anything. Wir werden das Ganze auf Englisch machen. Wir werden dann, wie bei unserem letzten Ask Me Anything mit John, werden wir das dann mit Untertiteln versehen. Und dann, wenn Sie heute keine Zeit hatten, den Livestream anzuschauen, werden wir Ihnen den Link zuschicken, damit Sie dann die Aufzeichnung nachträglich anschauen können. Yeah, I was just explaining that we will do our Ask Me Anything in English. And for all the publishers that are busy for today, they will get a link when we're done with the recording and added the German subtitles.
Sure. Okay. I remember that from last time.
Yeah, that's what we also did last time. So it might take a little bit, but we'll make sure to send it out after we added the German subtitles for everyone.
Okay.
To make it easier to understand.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for bearing with me because I don't speak German, but I'm giving it a try from time to time. So. Well, I guess we should, how are we doing on the attendees? Do we have to let anyone in or?
At the moment looks fine. Please let us know if you have difficulties hearing us, understanding us, if there's any audio or video complications or anything is not clear. Lasst uns bitte wissen, wenn es audiotechnisch oder bildtechnisch nicht klar sein sollte, posten Sie einfach in den Chat oder in Q&A. I was just explaining if there's any audio issues or video issues. Just post it in the chat, let us know, and we'll take care of that. Great, yeah.
Well, we should get going.
Yeah, I see some familiar names and some new names, which is always very good and nice to see.
Hello, Monica. We just saw you. Have we got the chat out as well?
Just up for us. Pull it down. Okay, we can only.
Yeah, I think there is one. There is one chat in the. I think it was in the Zoom, wasn't it? Yeah.
Ah,
it's
nice.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's okay. Thank you very much. Great. Okay, so I think we should kick off. So we have, I think, what, like 10, 11 questions, something like that on deck, which have been proposed beforehand. And I'll go through these, and then if there's any that come to mind, or if anybody wants anything expanding upon, then I'm happy to go over it again or expand if you need. Just put it into the chat, and we'll do that. So, how much time does Ezoic need to be effective for my website? So that's a good question. So the idea of Ezoic is it's continual improvement over time. So as I'm sure those of you who do use Ezoic know. What Ezoic does is it looks at the effect of changes. So how do ads affect user experience? And then how does things like site speed and page health affect user experience? What are the outcomes? So the outcome of good user experience is lower bounce rate, higher time on site, higher page views per visit, greater scroll percentage when you're going down the page. And that is a question of testing. So it's trying different things to see what works. I think the math behind it is you need about 7,000 sessions to get to around about 90% statistical confidence. So if you think about it, you've got various tests going on, multivariate tests. You need to get to a point where you have got the statistical data to be able to be relatively sure about your predictions. And you need time. So there's two things at work. Data, which is how many are there to be statistically relevant. If you've got 10 visitors, and you're not going to learn anything. You need 7,000 visitors to learn one thing. And then you need time. So what is an average Sunday? What is an average Monday? The system is learning how those attributes, and it might be connection speed, viewport, time of day, day of week, how many ads there are on a page, how many in a session, previous bid history, like the list goes on and on and on, all the things that it's trying. And it can make assumptions from other sites like yours from users like yours, but to actually get to the point where it's confident, it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks. And then it's an ongoing process of carrying on testing and improving over time. So it's not like it's getting to a point and saying, okay, we don't need to test anymore. All of the permutations have been exhausted. Those are the results forever, because of course, you know, October's different from August. December's different from January, and so it goes on. And of course, 2022 is different from 2021, as we found out. Ad rates are down about 20% worldwide due to the macroeconomic conditions of higher inflation, energy prices, and all the stuff we're unfortunately only too aware of at the moment. But so that's a long answer to a short question. How long does it take to be effective? I mean, I'd say in the short time frame for an average site of maybe 50, 100,000 visits a month, and you'll start to see improvements after about 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll start to see some major improvements in about 4 to 6 weeks, which is why we have that 30 days for free thing that we do.
But also, if I add my own experience and observations with publishers, confirms what John has just said. And as a general rule of thumb, also if you make changes on the dashboard, for example, I also recommend always to keep the platform time, let the machine learn, let it see how it develops over time, and that's also the same time that I recommend to my publishers, between 4 to 6 weeks to have efficient enough data. So keep that in mind when you do some changes on the dashboard.
Yeah, we were joking earlier on in the office about some publishers are like DJs. They're sort of like changing something over here, changing something over there, and that's not good for the machine learning system. Our motto really is to try and make all the parameters, give as many options for the system as possible, on as many devices as possible, and then just let it do its thing, and it will learn and improve over time. Okay, any other questions on that? I don't think we do. So number 2, please share some information about Humix. How do I earn? And is the content verified? Currently, for example, there are dubious videos on Corona. Also, mypage.com/Humix. If you enter Corona in the search function, this is not good. Okay, quite a lot in this question. I'll try and break it down. So tell you a little bit more about Humix. Humix is it's a video collaboration platform, and we came up with the idea because there are certain platforms, I think we can just say YouTube, and what happens is you give them, and Facebook as well for that matter, they're closed platforms. You give them your content and then you just get what you're given. And we're all for the open web and getting content out there. We decided to come up with the idea of 2 things. 1, help publishers create videos, which is not Humix, but we have a video creation tool, which is in alpha still. And then also create a way for people to be able to share their videos on a platform, but also to be able to host videos on their own platform. So what Humix is a way for you to be able to put your videos on other people's sites, and for you to accept videos from other people's sites onto your site, so you can earn money. And if you think about that, let's pick a couple of good examples. Let's say I've got a site about gardening, and one is about how to grow vegetables, and the other one is how to, let's say, cook vegetables. I don't know, make it easy. And I've created a video about both of these, but the keywords for me, for my site, those vegetable videos are only good for those keywords, the vegetable keywords, so where the intent is good. And then I've got a chance, I put those videos on my site, I can start to rank for video content as well as text content. So just bear that in mind. You're going to get more traffic because you're now ranking in the video rankings as well as normal text. And when you have a site that already ranks for vegetables, it's a lot easier to rank for video vegetables. So sorry if this sounds really elementary, but I'm trying to get my head around this myself. And then let's say there's another site connected with the Ezoic system through Humix, and they want to host your vegetable videos. And they'll put them on their site, and you're going to get a cut of of their revenue and their traffic. And let's say one of them's a massive site and gets you 1 million views, all of a sudden you could start making money from your content on other people's sites. Now, this is way more efficient than putting it all into one platform and then not being able to take anything out, put anything in. And this is the reason we came up with it, is that you can make money from hosting ads, videos, and you can make money from making videos and having them hosted on other sites. So that's what we call a collaboration platform for video. Now, there are some dubious videos on Corona. Obviously, we're uploading now. It is thousands of videos, I think, per hour. We're getting so many. There's millions now, right? It's millions, yeah. Millions, over 30 million videos uploaded, I think, so far. So it's been a fantastic success. And it's just going like this. We don't currently vet all of the videos. We have the same problem, I would say, as every other video platform. There's an awful lot of video, and to have humans go in and verify whether the content is good or not, we can use some AI to try and look for things like nudity and hate speech and so on. But for things that are more nuanced, like an opinion that might be incorrect, we're going to have to put it through to moderators. And to do that, we need the people who use the platform to flag bad content. So that's what we're doing at the moment. I think you did a bit of research into this as well, didn't you, Leon?
Yeah, I spoke, because I read also the questions beforehand, and I spoke a little bit to our platform quality team. Some publishers may know we do have our own in-house platform quality team. So that's a big help for us. Publisher success managers for the business, and also as well, I think, absolutely for the publishers that we know, we have a dedicated team that is working on securing the quality of the content that publishers are posting.
Keeping out bad content, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I spoke to them and asked them specifically about humans. So right now, they definitely go through and review all the reported content that are on Humix. So if you see any content that you think is not good or shouldn't be on there, I would recommend to flag it and report it. Our platform quality team will go through it and then decide if this should not be online or how to deal with that content. As John said, it's in a process as the platform is growing to automate some of these things, but still, I would say it looks like the factor of manual reviewing won't go away. It's still necessary for people to have a look and see, okay, like you said, some content might be a bit more nuanced and more refined.
Yeah, it's definitely the problem of anybody who is pulling in a lot of content, and obviously you want to we want the quality to stay high, but we've got two main feedback mechanisms, which are the users themselves flagging it and also other people who are giving us well, it's the advertisers who they will have their own filtering tools as well. I hope that helps. I'm sorry it's not the perfect answer, but that's where we're at with the program. Don't forget that it's really only just started, so we're still solving these things.
To keep it short for that particular question, if you see something that you feel is not okay, shouldn't be there, please report it. It helps us, it helps everyone to keep the quality high and act also in a more efficient way. I think we have some maybe related to video.
Good. We're just going to read them, guys.
Wo finde ich den Link zu einem Video auf dem Player, unabhängig das Video in einem neuen Post einzufügen? I think the question means, where do I find the link to my own video?
I can give you some general navigation tips, which is if you go to Trailblazer in the top right of your Ezoic dashboard, and you click on that and you go to the video area, then you're going to be able to see that. What we'll do is we'll post a link afterwards showing we do actually, if you go to the help center as well, that's probably a good idea. If you go to support,
we're going to post the link now.
Yeah, we're going to post it right now. And then with putting yourself forward for taking your videos and having them put on other sites, there's an opt-in button. We wouldn't do that until you give permission for the system to take your videos and have them posted. And then obviously you have to also accept if you want to receive videos onto your site and earn money from showing those videos for other publishers. Okay, the main benefit, what you got to remember is the main benefit is that all the rankings are going to you guys. So you're getting the video rankings. And at the moment, if you post a YouTube video about your chosen, let's say, vegetables, you will produce the content. And then when you rank in Google for it, you go to YouTube. And then you're paid by the YouTube channel, by YouTube. Whereas with this, you produce the video and you rank on your own site for your own video. And so therefore the rankings go to you. And I think that's the main sort of rebalance in this amazing new area for us anyway. The whole world is going video, as my teenagers show by how many videos they watch all the time. Okay, so we've posted that. Hopefully that helps. Any more questions?
There was just more or less a comment. Deutsche Untertitel ist nicht zu sehen. It was a question about the subtitles in German. I'm gonna answer quickly in German. Die deutschen Untertitel fügen wir erst hinzu im Nachhinein. Also es wird alles aufgezeichnet, dann geben wir das unserem Marketing-Team, wird bearbeitet, hochgeladen und die Untertitel werden hinzugefügt dann. Also live haben wir leider nicht die Möglichkeit, Untertitel hinzuzufügen. Okay. Ja, ich hoffe, das Ganze beantwortet das.
Thank you guys. Sorry about not speaking German. Yeah. I will. And in fact, when I do an answer, and if you want to do a follow-up, feel free to do that in German and maybe keep a bit more German going.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if I ask it in English, and then you can ask the same question in German. Okay, so next question is, how do you estimate the impact on the lockout of third-party cookies in 2023, Ezoic sales, etc.? I don't know if you want to ask that or just explain that in German.
How does that mean? Okay. Okay, die Frage lautet, was für einen Einfluss, so gesagt, wird es haben aufgrund der Cookie quasi Regelung im Jahr 2023 für Sales. Also inwiefern werden wir von unserer Seite und die Publisher hier einen Unterschied merken und wie wird sich das auswirken quasi im nächsten Jahr aufgrund der Cookie-Regelung?
Okay, so we have two major players in the whole ecosystem at the moment. We've got Apple, who have their Safari browser, which is about 30% of all internet. They have already prevented third-party cookies from firing within Safari. And what's happening is that Google have announced they were going to do it this year. They're putting it back maybe next year. They might put it back again. But what they need to do is they just need to bite the bullet and do it. And what this is going to do is it's going to prevent advertisers from tracking users between sites and across from the same device. Apple are also making it very difficult for advertisers to track within things like apps, and it's a push towards privacy, and I'm definitely thinking that that's probably a good thing. Now let's take a quick step back. Ezoic connects with our publishers through in a first-party relationship. So third-party cookie will be something like, and I think the next question is actually also about privacy and Google Analytics and so on. But we are connecting with our publishers, and by being a proxy, we have a first-party position. So we are lucky in the fact that our cookies, which are mostly, they're not really for advertisers because we never sell data ever. It's always about tracking the user, seeing how they're enjoying the content, and it's all about good feedback stuff. And it's not for commercial gain, and it's certainly we don't collect any personal identifiable information. So I don't think that this is going to affect Ezoic particularly badly, but it will affect the ad demand and competition. So let's say, for example, if you look at Criteo, which they're a pretty large French retargeting business, they rely on third-party cookies. If you look at all of the data management platforms that are out there, a lot of them rely on third-party cookies to be able to track users and to offer what they call as improvements to ad rates. So when that competition has gone down, we can probably see some ad rates come down. But you know what? Google is the biggest source of advertisers in the world. They have pretty much an accurate opinion about everybody who goes on the internet. They've got Android, Chrome, obviously Google search engine, YouTube, Google Play Store. The list goes on. Their ability to be able to track people without the need of any third-party cookies is pretty much like dead on. This push towards blocking cookies and in fact data protection in Europe generally, I think, is playing into their hands rather than stopping competition. It's actually worsening it. Anyway, we won't get into the politics of it, but what I will say is I think that the quicker we get it over and done with, the more the advertisers will have to find better ways to be able to target users instead of using this third-party cookie method. Any comments, Leon?
Yeah, I'm going to add something later on after the next part, because that is kind of related.
They're quite related, these two questions. And please do ask any questions that you might have. So next question is, Austrian and French data protection professionals see Google Analytics as a big problem when it comes to GDPR. What is our stand with personally identifiable information? And are we at all times in line with current EU laws? Do you want to just explain that one in German?
Die Frage lautet, für Österreich und der französische Teil der Datenschutz-Professionals, also es gibt ja einige Organisationen, andere User, die Beauftragte sind oder wie auch immer, sieht es so, dass die Analytics-Daten von Google irgendwie ein Hindernis ist oder etwas Problematisches ist. Die Frage lautet, wie stehen wir, also Ezoic, im Moment und auch wahrscheinlich in Zukunft zu dem ganzen Thema, dass wir konform sind innerhalb des EU-Gesetzes, was immer wieder auch von meiner Seite ein Thema ist. Und was ist unser Standpunkt dazu?
Next time we're going to put the German one down so we don't have to paraphrase it. Okay, so I'll break it down a little bit. So data protection professionals see Google Analytics as a big problem when it comes to GDPR. I agree. If you think about it, Google Analytics, what you're getting is some great data for your site, but what you are is giving a third party, Google in this case, the ability to track your users on your site. So it's going to be a problem for Google Analytics. It's not a problem for Ezoic because, as I said before, we're in that first party position. So I think that I don't mind if Google Analytics goes away. The issue is going to be, I think, how do users react when this is all enforced? So let's say for argument's sake, so there is a good reason for tracking users across different sites, is if you're not allowed to track them at all and you want to ask for permissions, you have to drop a cookie, right? So if I'm going to say, yes, I'm okay with you dropping a cookie, you have to ask me, and then I have to say yes. And then I have to drop a cookie on you after that, so that I'm not going to ask you every page you go to. And there are a few things that are problematic with this, which is if people say no, how do you track the people who have said no if they said that they don't want to be tracked? So there's a few sort of circular problems here, and obviously we have a consent management tool it's very good. We're working on it being server-side. There's lots of things that we're trying to do to improve consents, which is, I think, probably the biggest problem for data protection. But with regards to personally identifiable information, Ezoic does not collect any. So names, credit cards, email addresses, any of that stuff we do not collect. We don't even collect IP addresses in Europe. So at the moment, we are complying 100% with GDPR in Europe. We're trying to make it so it's easier for users to consent to whatever it is that we would like them to consent to. So it makes the site easier to use, and so you can make more money as a publisher. EU laws are tougher than other places in the rest of the world. Haven't got a problem with that. And I think in the future, there'll be other regions, for example, California, have their own data protection rules versus the rest of the United States, and the same thing will happen elsewhere. So to reassure you, I don't think Google Analytics is going to be a massive problem when Chrome stops cookies being dropped, because there are alternatives. I do think that we will see ad rates drop eventually. Do we collect personally identifiable information? No, we don't. Okay.
If I add some
Yes.
to that, I spoke with, we also, again, we have our own privacy team. So all topics related to privacy, we have our own team that is especially dedicated to that. And sometimes I get asked questions from publishers here and there about that. And then I ask our privacy team, okay, what is the correct ruling? What do we do in that regard? And my main takeaway from talking to our privacy team is that regarding, because most publishers are asking about cookies, this, cookies, that, these are problematic, whatever. The main takeaway from the privacy team's answer most of the time is that it's not, the issue mainly is not that we are collecting cookies or that cookies are being collected. The main topic or regulation is about how do we, like, what do we do with the collected information?
Yes,
with
how
that
do you prove that you collected it?
Exactly. How do we collect it, and what do we do with that? Like, do we sell it? As John explained, we are absolutely not selling them. And what do we do then after that? So that is more kind of the core root of it.
It's a burden. I think it's a burden on business, personally. I do definitely support the right to privacy, but I think there could have been easier ways of going about it, rather than inviting everybody on the whole internet to answer a pop-up. I just think there's better ways. Okay. Let's see, no more questions. All right, let's go to the next one. Are there any plans to offer payouts in euros in the future?
That's a really good one. And I didn't get this question like for some time.
That's a good one.
So some time ago, I got like a lot of questions about it, but now we are here again.
So I guess so.
I'm actually really excited, but you're going to say right now.
Well, if anybody's looked at the exchange rate between the US dollar and the euro, I think that you're going to be very happy at the moment with the way the fact that you are getting paid basically in dollars, which are then transferred into euros and then getting paid that way. Now, obviously, we have to use these partners like Payoneer and Wise and PayPal. We also do, we send checks. I'd forgotten we did that, by the way.
Yeah, but not relevant for our
no, not for our market.
But we do.
They do it in America. If you were a German speaker, let's say you're based in America, you can get paid by check, which I was kind of flabbergasted about. A stack of checks, right? But everything's done electronically. So right now, I would say it's in your interest to be paid to have everything calculated in dollars first. The euro is at an all-time weak point against the dollar, which has given everybody who uses Ezoic a natural 15% to 20% lift, just because they're getting paid in dollars and then it's translated. I think we are going to eventually. Our main issue is really the fact that our worldwide business for all publishers around the world is from America. So we have offices in Germany, we have offices in the UK, Canada, and so on, and Dubai as well. we are we're very keen on paying people locally, but if we get into having to exchange money around the world, it then becomes a burden on Ezoic to manage those currencies fluctuations, and we would rather outsource that to payment providers and just give publishers access to lots of payment providers. So I think that's probably the way that we'll go. I personally, I own a website. I personally use Payoneer, and I found them to be very, very good. They don't cost that much, and you can even get a little credit card so you can go and put your business expenses on there. So that's that question. Any other questions? Nothing in the queue. Let's go to the next one. Do you expect ad rates this quarter 2022 to be less compared to Q4 in 2021 due to the global economic situation? The answer is yes. Yes, I do. I think things are changing day by day. I mean, there are so many variables going on at the moment. For example, the price of energy directly affects inflation around the world. Interest rates directly affects in the other way inflation. It should push inflation down. And I think what we're seeing is European Union, Germany particularly, I think made a very concerted effort over the summer to consolidate gas stores and the price of gas, even though it was very high. National governments have been taking some good steps to try and even everything out in time for the winter. Now, obviously, this is all changing because of the political situation with Russia and Ukraine. All of this filters down to how much do ads cost. Now, ads they're almost like the canary in the coal mine. I don't know if that translates into German easily, but it's a way of they tend to track with stock markets quite closely. So if you go and look at the ad revenue index, when you see things going up over time, that's confidence going up. And digital ad budgets get cut very quickly in line with confidence. So as confidence returns, let's hope we've got an energy policy laid out. Maybe some terms can be agreed in Ukraine. Maybe we're going to avoid a massive recession as opposed to maybe we're going to avoid a crash through economic policy. And if we can get through that, I can see ad rates coming back. Now, it's all to do with confidence. And I personally, I don't think that the way that modern news stations and websites treat some of these confidence stories really helps us. I think it panics everyone. And I think when you get more and more panic, confidence goes down and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I personally think the world order is probably fairly stable at the moment. I think that we are all knowing where we're going to be in about 6 months' time. I don't think there's any huge changes that are coming. What we need to do is just need to calm everyone down. So that, I don't know, you always get a bit of an insight into my global politics. I won't give you my personal politics, but global politics. So I think that there will be slightly lower. We're seeing 20%, 25% at the moment in certain countries, but bearing in mind developed nations versus developing countries will have, depends where you get your traffic. So I would say the DACH-Region itself is pretty stable.
Big factor, traffic source.
And it will be the majority for, I'm sure, all of the people who are listening at the moment. So I think we're actually in decent shape. I certainly am pretty expectant. I have a good expectation that things, I mean, certainly Ezoic is growing very quickly at the moment. And of course, in any economic change, there's companies that grow through recessions as well as ones that decline. So yeah, I feel personally, pretty good about it. Any other questions about that? Sorry, I've done half waffle.
I'm gonna add quickly the ad revenue index link.
Yeah, we probably mention it in every webinar, don't we?
Yeah, and whenever I have office hours, I also mention it because it's just, in my opinion, I guess most of the publishers who are here are aware of it.
Yeah.
But just to complete it.
Yeah, it's good to go and have a look at the different regions. Okay, so coming up towards the end of some of these questions, are any partnerships planned with hosting providers in Germany? Some host providers have difficulties with Ezoic. That is certainly true. So we have agreed mostly with some American hosts. We are definitely open. If any of our publishers know these hosts well, we would definitely like some help doing some deals. So we never profit from any of these things. They're just corporations to make life easier for both parties. We have Kinster as a certified seamless partner, SiteGround. We have a few, there's a handful. Obviously, Cloudflare is the world's largest reverse proxy. So 75% of all sites that use a proxy use Cloudflare. I've got to say, Ezoic is in the top 6 in the world now, which is quite satisfying. And yes, we're definitely interested. Some hosting providers do block Ezoic requests. So just as a reminder for everybody, you've got the browser and the host, and then you have Ezoic or Cloudflare or whatever reverse proxy is in the middle. And that position enables the Ezoic system to be able to do the testing that we do, and also to be able to collect all the data to show you in big data analytics, and also to be able to help with things like Leap and site health and all of the other kind of magic that Ezoic does. But it does mean that we handle those requests. So sometimes the host can misrecognize our requests as being coming from non-human sources. So it'll be saying, oh no, it's a bot, stop, block, and that's when we get problems. Normally we're able to fix it by having a restricted IP list, or we can get them to flag a user agent that we give them, and that user agent is then used to identify any requests that come through. Or they can do the X404 protocol where we hand on the originator's IP address. So instead of an IP address from Ezoic asking for the content, it's actually coming with the IP address from the original user. So that's for all the technical people who are interested in getting a full answer. But yeah, we're definitely open. And if you are having problems, please let us know, because as we grow in the DACH market, and we are growing quite quickly now, we do want to be able to make things easier for you.
As far as I know, to that, we tried to build some partnerships, or at least reach out to some of the host providers, but it was not very easy to establish something. So as John said, if you have kind of know someone in some hosting providers, please let us know. It will make all our lives easier. And I know it can get frustrating if you have issues because of that. What I can only say is very often they blame us, like, it's Ezoic's fault. But fact is, it's not on our end that we can push a button and do something that we just solve it.
It's not in our ability to solve if it's them blocking us. We can't stop them blocking us. So the way that I would suggest, if you're getting lots of error pages and things like that from your host, would be to potentially go down the Cloudflare route. So you would need to probably work with Leon or Daphne or one of the team here, but just make sure that you know what you're doing. But the idea would be that you effectively use Cloudflare. Now, Cloudflare solved most of they've trodden ahead of us, so they have all of this kind of fixed already. We're still sorting most of it out, because Ezoic is a technical partner with Cloudflare. It means that you can sign up for Cloudflare, use Cloudflare for free, and then you can connect to Ezoic through Cloudflare.
They're also very good with bot security and stuff. I observed it with some publishers that changed to Cloudflare. They have less issues with bot stuff now.
Well, we do. Everybody who signs up for Ezoic, and then we create we actually create a Cloudflare account for them if they don't already have one. So by using Ezoic, you're getting Cloudflare anyway. It's just a different way round. Instead of having to change name service to Ezoic, you change name service to Cloudflare, and then you get Ezoic. And the same as the other way around. But there are always ways around. Please don't despair. We will help. But yeah, some hosts don't want to change, and they don't like proxies. I don't know why, because we save them money. We handle a lot of the bandwidth for them. So I have no idea why they don't want to be helpful. Okay, next question. When is levels coming? How many times have I been asked this?
I'll be surprised if we didn't get this.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty much every time. I owe you £5. Levels is coming. I honestly don't know. I think we are very close to rolling it out. For those of you who don't know what levels is, it's a way that we basically guarantee levels of support for different sizes of sites. So if you've got a bigger site, you can become a VIP, you can be a level 1, and so on. And the idea is that it's sort of making everything a little bit clearer. The reason that we've been unable to do it in what are the new markets, the growth markets for Ezoic in Germany, Austria, Czechoslovakia, I've got to get it right, and France and Italy, is where we have dedicated support and salespeople, is that we need to get to a certain size to have, for it to make a business case for having personnel to monitor at each level. And to be honest, we're not quite there yet. We're getting very close though, in terms of, you know, the several thousand publishers that we have in the European Union now. We're getting very close to being able to roll it out. So January, don't hold me to it, but that's where we're at. Okay, what is emote? I don't know if I'm allowed to answer this. Emote is an internal it's an internal word that we use for a comment system. Now, for those of you who've used the video platform, we have a comments system with that. So you host the video player, and then you've got the benefit of people actually writing it. You have to moderate it. It does some moderation for you. But the idea is that one day, the Ezoic system will be able to offer that on all pages, not just video, but for any context, contextual content. And what's good about that is, at the moment, if you want comments, you have to pay for it, or you have to suffer the dilution of extra ads from those partners. So I think the top ones around the world are, I want to say, Instigator, Discuss, there's a few, and they all charge, and they all put ads in if you don't pay up. Ezoic is coming out with something that is better than all that. I'm not going to say any more, but yeah, we have some quite ambitious plans for helping publishers handle traffic and users in a better way. Okay, last question that we've got on deck, and then we'll open it up. So have a think, everybody. If you've got any questions, please don't be shy, just pop it in. This is the last question we have on the deck. Is it planned to do app ads in the future? No, it isn't. The reason for that is app discovery is really tough. So Apple App Store, Google Play Store, if you produce an app, it is incredibly difficult to get users to download it unless you spend a fortune on having it promoted within those app ecosystems. And obviously, when you have a lot of organic traffic, you can say, oh, I'm going to offer my mobile users the ability to download an app. Okay, now, yes, you can try to force them into doing it, and that's fine, but you have to have a very high degree of loyalty, and it doesn't work for all kinds of content. What is good about it is that once you've got them in an app, you can do things like send them notifications, bring them back. And that's probably the biggest one, actually, it's just notifications. And then obviously you want to monetize them. Now, the reason we haven't gone down the route of doing the Ezoic stuff inside apps is because outside of Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, there's just so few of them that get decent traffic. Some games, but they're owned by the big games manufacturers, and then they get the new game pushed out to the old users, and you know the little guy doesn't get much of a look in, to be honest. So we think the World Wide Web is a better place to put your content, and that's where we're putting our efforts. That's that.
Great. We have one in the comment section.
Okay.
Muss SSL-Zertifizierung bereits vor Anmeldung bei Ezoic vorliegen oder erledigt Ezoic? So the question is,
SSL.
yeah, do websites need to have SSL before they sign up with Ezoic?
No, they don't. So Ezoic will create an SSL certificate for you if you don't have one. When you're signing up for Ezoic, and you can import your certificate, and that is something that's part of when we were building Ezoic, it was one of the things that we had to sort of jump through in order to maintain that handshake of security when requests come in and go out. But if you don't have an SSL certificate and you want one, you can sign up for Ezoic, and Ezoic has the ability to create one for you. But you definitely should have a secure site. The reason is some advertisers will not advertise on sites that don't have an SSL certificate. It also means anything that's input by your users is viewable to anyone on the internet. So if you have sign up for my newsletter, somebody could be lurking there and just taking all of their information, which is not good for your users, definitely not good for you, and definitely not good for GDPR. And I would say it's just good practice. There's no reason why not. These days it's pretty simple. And you can get them free, like with Ezoic, or you can pay small amounts of money for them at your domain and your register, sorry, your hosting. And that's it.
I'd say quite a lot of publishers, maybe not Ezoic publishers, are not even aware that you can get them for free. And pay for that kind of service to get SSL.
Oh, it was definitely money for nothing for a lot of hosts when that came out as a requirement from Google. It's also, bear in mind, if you've got traffic coming to a non-SSL site, if you go secure, you're going to get a revenue bump and a traffic bump, because you're probably getting a lot of your requests blocked by Google, because Google now puts up that page where it says, are you sure? Are you sure you want to go? Because you haven't, and go and check that you've got www and the root domain. Both of those are secure. Sometimes people forget to make their root domain secure, or they don't have a redirect from the root domain to the www. So those are some good tips there.
There are some instances where I have seen that the host is providing the SSL, and then it gets expired. And somehow, I know with at least one, others, but definitely with one host provider that regularly creates issues. Where be careful with that. Keep that in mind as a publisher. If that happens, that SSL gets expired from the host, there's an instruction tutorial from the host provider that shows you how to upload a self-signed certificate. So because we tried that to use ours, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work with that particular host. Very annoying.
Oh, with that host. Okay.
Yeah, with that host.
It can depend on the host as to whether.
But we do provide them.
Yeah, most of the time it will work seamlessly, so it should be fine. Okay, and I think that's the last question that we've answered. So let's unless anybody wants to type a question in now into the Zoom chat or into the webinar chat, we will call it a day. But I do appreciate being brought back. I think you bring me out once a quarter, or maybe
it's always great
to
have John here, because
like
sometimes I say some things that, on one side I do not know, definitely not better than you, but in some cases maybe on your end to reassure publishers, like, what we are saying sometimes is the right thing, and just show the DACH publishers that we count as well, because I know sometimes we're getting kind of behind the English publishers, which is understandable because they're just much bigger. But I think it's always good to have the
well, we're investing heavily in the DACH market at the moment. As if you didn't know, we do actually have a phone number now in Germany. We have an address. We have a GmbH. Ezoic GmbH has just been founded, and our office in Mainz. So if anybody does live near Mainz and you will pop in for a beer or coffee, please do. I know Basti and the team there would, and in fact, if you know anyone who wants to work for Ezoic, please do apply, because we are working really hard to bring in new people who want to come and work for us and build that market. So it's a very exciting time at Ezoic, and I have to be careful who I talk to about feeling that good about the business, because of course a lot of people are going to be going through tough times, but certainly for us, our technology is really taking hold and adding a lot of value. So we're getting tons of people sign up, which has been great. So yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much von meinen. Wie gesagt, die Aufzeichnung werden wir zuschicken. Den Link schicke ich Ihnen zu, sobald wir die Untertitel haben. Dankeschön und bis zum nächsten Mal.